Hello and welcome to Happy Foot, Sad Foot, your LAFC gateway drug and the only LAFC podcast that's probably the only person online who shares their stock trades for free. I'm Travis Helwig.
I'm Vince LaRosa.
And I'm Darren Miller.
That one was for Darren only. The only pre-roll ad on our YouTube show. I'm probably the only person online who shares their stock trades. Someone is listening to this right now having just heard that.
It is so mad.
Well, I'm Darren Miller. Welcome to our preview episode of LAFC's MLS match versus the Houston Dynamo on Saturday, May 3rd at 7:30 p.m. at BMO Stadium. You can watch it on MLS Season Pass. And as almost always, our live post-game call-in show will start 10 minutes after the final whistle at youtube.com/@happyfootsadfoot.
Later in the show, our first quarterly review for the season. And of course, we'll discuss all this week's storylines and make some bets. But first, you know it, you love it, you never skip over it. It's time for listener-mandated banter. How you guys doing?
Well, Travis, I have something very important to bring to the table. And something that I'm hoping we can figure out right here, right now, in banter. I just finished episode 4 of Hacks.
I got something to say about that too.
And there is a scene in which they're at a bar and there are TVs. And clearly there is soccer on those TVs. I need to know what game is being played in the background of the show.
Is it when they're at the bar after the show premieres?
Yes. When Hannah's character is trying to be like, oh, the writers, they're gonna love me because I took them out, and they're like, no, we're all fucking tired, which is probably about how it would go. Actually,
Gavin Matz, whose stand-up bit I was telling you before the show started, is in that scene. He's one of the writers. Scene.
Yeah.
I was trying to pay attention, but I could not focus because the entire time I was like, is that an LAFC game? It could be an LAFC game, or are they fucking with me and making me think it's an LAFC game just so that I can say it is, and then they go, ha, you're an idiot. You don't know what LAFC games are. I'm just saying,
well, I would say Lucia Agnello, who used to share season tickets to LAFC with me and had to stop when she created Hacks with my wife, is a big LAFC fan, but she is more so a Serie A fan. And she is a very big AC Milan fan. So if she wanted to, I've seen Juventus with her before. And I even bought a Juventus kit for her kid because I thought she was a Juventus fan, but turns out no, she's a Milan.
That's my boy. That's my boy. Well done. Well done. But it's all stripes. I don't know. I thought they were all the same.
I think because I saw Juventus versus Real Madrid at the Rose Bowl with her, and I thought that meant she was a Juventus fan. But no, she just wanted to see a Serie A team. But I am trying to get her son into the LAFC Academy. I think it's possible.
Oh yeah, I mean, with you teaching him, clearly. I mean, what are you showing him?
And I haven't played.
Are you trying to say that you're trying to pull strings to get him in?
No, but I mean, if I could, I mean, if anyone's listening has any say in who gets into the LAFC Academy, he's, I think, almost 3. When did they start?
Yeah, I mean, that's when they start. Yeah, that's about right.
That's when they should start. If you ask me.
Yeah.
I got a problem with Hacks too.
Yeah, tell me.
Mine wasn't a problem. Let's not put it as a problem.
I got a problem. Travis, you got to give me fair warning when there's an episode of Hacks, which is a tearjerker, opens with a non-obvious Queen song, and features Yoni Lotan.
Yes, it was a big Darren. It was a big Darren episode last week. There's a new episode tonight as we're recording. If you want episode,
I'm not watching it. I'm watching last week's episode again.
Can we talk about the first time
every week when Hacks premieres? I'm watching that episode.
I mean, I do have to say, the first time you see Yoni, he doesn't speak. You just see him in the background. How aggressively is he chewing that salad? Jesus. I mean, talk about chewing the scenery. Literally doing it.
He also is in tonight's episode. He has less to say tonight, but he is in tonight's episode. But
thank you for the warning.
And tonight he did get injured on set in a way that I was like, he might have sued if he wasn't our friend. He wasn't. It was his fault, but it was the show's fault. If that makes sense. It was.
Does he get injured because of something? Doing something that we will see on screen?
Yeah, is he on camera doing it?
But you don't know that he gets injured doing it. Right. But he had to do the thing long enough that it fucked him up, and he had huge bruises.
Do you think the take that they took is the one where he got most injured in?
Well, I mean, it's not that big of a spoiler. I'm just going to tell you what it is.
Okay.
He does the worm in the background of a scene. And so in multiple angles, one, he had to learn the worm for it.
That's really funny.
In multiple angles, he had to do the worm in the background, and they offered him knee pads and he said no. And so he's just banging his body into like the floor of a stage repeatedly in the background of a thing.
You do the
That's
worm
really
raw.
funny.
You do it raw.
Yes.
You don't
Raw dog the worm.
Wait, how does that work? So
Never
in the
worm.
script,
That's what I told all the college kids this weekend.
so wait, but I need to know this now. So in the script, I'm guessing it said like, and he does the worm in the background.
Yes.
But when they said like, do you know how to do the worm? Were they flexible in any way where they could have been like, well, it could be any dance, or did it have to be the worm?
It had to be the worm. But they gave Yoni a big enough head start that he had like months to learn the worm. Like the part was essentially written for him. Like when you think of Yoni, and for those of you listening, you don't know who we're talking about. He's the man. If you just, he hasn't called in a year and a half, but our first season of the show coined the term Bawanga Blast, which is now used by the official LAFC
it's
Instagram.
Trademarked.
That's true.
Yes,
Noticed
they
that?
trademarked it.
How did that happen?
Wait, they trademarked it?
They put a trademark next
Well,
to it.
they put it on Twitter. I don't.
I've
And
done that
on
before
Instagram
from our
too.
account.
I think the trademark is is a quiet nod to us that
I
they're
would hope
putting
so.
out.
Maybe.
Yes, I don't think it's them saying it's theirs. I think it's them saying we know that those guys did it. I mean, we know the people who do the socials; they're all good people.
They're licensing it from us properly.
Yeah, and we're waiting for those checks.
Yeah.
Who's the guy the exercise man that used to own the club? We're waiting for the checks.
Oh,
I don't know.
What was that man's name? They kicked him out during Me Too.
Not exercise.
What was
Not
he?
for that. Just like
Tony-
it happened to be during that time.
Tony something.
Well,
Tony.
He's
Kill
not
Tony.
exercise. It's
Life coach shit. Life coach.
Yeah,
whatever.
life coach. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tony
I keep wanting to
Robbins.
say
Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
Tony
yeah, yeah.
Robbins.
I confuse him with the Bowflex man a lot.
Oh, flex.
I mean, oddly enough, Tony Robbins is a very large man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's big dude.
He's like 10 feet tall.
Yeah, he's a giant. All right, good end. Why don't we start the
Yeah.
show?
I have to say,
Just a
Yoni
really
is one
soft
of
landing
maybe
there.
like 1 to 3 people where it's shocking to learn he didn't already know the worm.
Well,
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, I think the worm takes a level of like, and this isn't a dig at Yoni, you have to have like strong core strength. Like I couldn't do the fucking worm. So he had to like,
No, me neither.
he had to do a series of tutorial YouTubes over the course of months and they didn't pay him for those. They were like, we wrote this part for you. Can you learn the worm? And he said, yes, I would love to.
Wow, that was a prerequisite. You have to
All
learn
right.
the worm.
Well, yeah. I mean, you'll see it's not the, now I hope they didn't cut it out. I haven't seen it since
Right?
the final edit.
I love if he
Oh,
would have
no.
not learned it and been like just done a bunch of like random 50s dance moves. He's like, well, I know the twist and I can do the monkey and the swim. And they're like,
I have a lot of
sorry,
backup
bro.
moves.
We've got a guy on retainer. He's ready to go.
Basically, the joke is like something happens where he has to run out as the warm-up comic and distract the audience. And so they were like, the worm is the joke, right? The worm is he runs out and does the worm to distract the crowd from something happening. Hacks on Max.
Well, Hacks on Max.
Out now. 100%.
It's
on
really
Rotten
much
Tomatoes.
funnier than we're describing it, I swear.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Literally can't get better than that, everyone. Won the best comedy Emmy. You wanna know-
Mathematically.
Mhm.
You want to know how I pay for these Zencaster subscriptions? It's not from Patreon. I'll tell you that much. It's certainly not from our merch sales. One a month over on the merch page.
Well, maybe we
Although
should
got
remind
some-
people that we have merch. We
Yes.
do it at
Yeah,
the
we have
very
merch.
end when people have already gotten off. Like
We
maybe
have
we should put
merch.
the stuff at the front.
over at happyfootsapplepod.com, which if
Travis, you're
Patreon
wearing
member-
merch. Show
I am.
everybody your merch.
I don't even know if this is on the website anymore. I
That's
wore
the
this
old
to
school
gym.
original friend of the foot shirt.
I wore this to the gym recently, and I'm like, it looks like I'm a foot fetishist. So
Yep.
if you want to look like a foot fetishist, get this merch. A hard sell, but I do think like I'm hoping we'll have some new merch soon. So I've been sort of holding off heavy promoting merch until we hard launch a bunch of stuff. But we should talk about what that's going to be soon.
Sure.
This is strategy, folks.
If there's player merch you want, you guys let us know. Like if there's specific players, because last year we made a bunch of Add to Esta merch. Thought that would be a hot seller. I was the only one who bought the Add to Esta stuff.
Little did we know.
Yeah.
Actually,
I
that's
was
the
saying,
curse. Like,
maybe
don't
there
tell
aren't-
us. Don't
there
tell us
isn't
the
much
one.
player merch that would sell very well right
I
now.
know.
Yeah, let's pick. We should probably pick a player that people don't like right now, and then all of a sudden they'll come good.
Can I?
Yeah,
what
maybe.
about come good? What if I? What if
Sorry.
I
Can't get past it.
It should say we should have merch that says "Come good." We should have merch. One shirt that says "Dolo out" and one shirt that says "Dolo in."
That's funny, yeah. Or just on the front and back.
Yeah, front and back.
Or it should be reversible.
Just say Dolo in on the front and Dolo out on the back.
Yeah, can they do the
reversible merch?
Oh, that's funny. I'll look into it.
You could turn it inside out.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. If it didn't cost so much to make scarves, that's also a really funny scarf to have.
Oh man, like a flip board. You can decide.
Yeah,
that's pretty fun.
All right, let's
do the
show, huh?
All right. Well, as the casually obsessed LAFC fan on this show, I love LAFC and I'll never miss a match, but I don't have time to stay on top of all the advanced stats, roster moves, rumors, and tactics, and off-the-field drama that I can't get from just watching the matches, when all I see watching the match is ball get kicked, ball go in net, Frenchman flipped. I am so back. I am so back. Luckily, my friend Travis, the human LAFC crazy wall, and Vince, the human LAFC sane human, are here to catch me up every week on the most important storylines that live beneath the surface.
I like soccer head on the inside.
He's got to change it up sometimes.
Yeah, I'll get tired of him and then I'll switch him up. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe next time. You want me to do it next time?
By the way, it
was Kids Day at the game, and there was a kid soccer head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
It was very cute.
Anyway, they're both here to catch me up every week on the most important storylines that live beneath the surface of every match so we can all enjoy them so much more in a segment we call Storylines.
Darren, Vince, Dintz, I come to you just a mere 14 minutes since the New York Knicks secured a second round playoff spot against the Boston Celtics, who they will lose to in 4 games, with this week's storylines. And the first one is the one on the tip of all LAFC fans' minds. I know everyone is thinking exactly how I'm thinking right now, and that storyline is this. Vince, what happened last game? As you guys know, Darren and I were in Washington, D.C. during the last match, didn't watch the game. We saw the score, and then we saw 2 reactions on the internet, and I know Vince is well-versed in what the internet has to say. 2 very different feelings about what happened. And I'm curious. Some people are saying that we're back. Some people are saying it's so over. I'm curious, Vince, having been to the game, are we back? Are we so over? Are we neither? What did we miss? Tell us exactly everything we need to know from the game, because honestly, I felt lost writing the storylines this week, and it's because I don't know what happened the last week.
I mean, that's fair.
Did we cook or are we cooked?
Who cooked? Who's the chef?
Kind of everyone, but also no one. Like, okay,
everyone cooked and no one
I'll say
ate.
this: it was an extremely entertaining game, but also incredibly frustrating. I mean, there was a red card, there was a missed penalty, there were some banger goals. Like, there was everything you would want to see as a neutral. And I think if you've listened to this show long enough, you probably know like how I watch the game, and I know it frustrates probably 95% of you because I'm not uber emotional about it and don't just care about who wins or loses, and then want to make sweeping judgments after every single play and or result. So I'll say this.
But that's why we're here.
Yeah, that's what you guys are here for.
You should be happy.
So then I will lay it out. I will lay it out for you, and you guys tell me how you feel about it after I lay out kind of the way the game went. LAFC played against a team that I think is not necessarily very good, but they are pretty resolute defensively, to the tune of the lowest goals against in the league going into this match. But LAFC bossed the match from the very start. They had a lot of the ball. They were moving the ball into the offensive third in a variety of different ways. Some that we were used to, transition, winning the ball through press. Their press was actually a lot stronger than we've seen in recent games. They were playing direct at times. They were even holding a little bit of possession and moving the ball around and doing some somewhat fun things. But the problem was they lacked quality. It was like the pass before the pass was just not happening. And watching the game, I was frustrated by that because just a little bit of quality would have meant LAFC honestly would have won that game 4 or 5-0 easily, probably even in the first half.
Damn.
But at the same time, I was encouraged because they were creating a lot of openings and a lot of windows, as we call them. Basically, a window is a chance in which a player has the ball at their feet. There's some kind of player running forward, and you're thinking, if I play the ball through to him, this is going to create us a chance. And there was a lot of those. The problem was the pass that came when that window was open was either not good or too late. They were making kind of rash decisions or just the wrong decision completely. And it took one Cengiz Under to come into the game and inject a little bit of quality. He finally played a pass that literally was on a dime for Denny Bouanga to score the first goal. This was only after, though, LAFC had gone down, a bit fluky. They really didn't give up many chances. Honestly, the 2 chances that team had, they scored, which is kind of the way it goes when you're playing in the way that LAFC is, in which they're not finishing their chances. They're not getting a lot of quality. And so the margins are that much thinner, and it seems like it's a rule of soccer. Don't finish your chances on one end. Well, guess what? You're probably going to get punished on the other. And so that's why it was really frustrating for LAFC. But I will say this, one note that I did not see much talk of, that I talked with Max Bredos about after the game, was when Bouanga scored the second goal, the pop from the crowd was one of the louder I'd ever heard. And this was a crowd that was not like a full crowd. But I'll tell you, it was, I'm not going to say it like rivaled the Gareth Bale, but it was to the point where I was like, wow, that kind of reminded me of it in like a weird echo sense. Like, it was a really good pop. So
do you think that was because the goal was so quality, or because people were so excited that Bouanga finally got one on the board?
A little bit of both. And I think it also had to deal with not just Bouanga, but the whole team. Like, the team was knocking on the door. I'm not kidding you when I say they really should have had 4 to 5 goals in this game. Like, if Bouanga had two chances in the first half, if he finishes either of them or both, I think LAFC runs away winners of this game easily. I think if Bouanga finishes his penalty when it's 1-1, I think that they go on to win 3-4-1. It was just kind of the way one of those games goes. But now I lay it to you guys. If you're looking at a game and you're seeing your team at least be proactive on the ball and create things, do you think that it means that they're due? I don't know. How do you guys rate a game like that? Especially when you're watching.
We're so back. I rate it. We're so back. Darren, how do you rate it?
I think we're back. We're not so back, but look, the last couple of seasons have been roller coaster seasons. This season, if we start playing well, people are going to have a tendency to be like, another roller coaster. Wow, we sucked at the beginning of the season. All of a sudden, we're great again. That's not true. Like, this is us gradually taking one step at a time, coming back. That's what's frustrating about it, is that we're not suddenly like great. We're actually gradually getting better and better. And that's the normal way that teams can do it.
I think that like the three of us also are very online when it comes to this team. And I think that's sometimes to the detriment of the podcast, because I'm so hyper aware of what people are saying about the team. And like, so far this season, people have been mad at every step of the way. Mm-hmm. People have been mad
at everything that happened, no matter what.
Winning 1-0, but it's boring. We've now had 2 really exciting games, but they didn't have the 3 points that we wanted them to have. But they were finally exciting, and we kept saying we want to play exciting soccer. We're obviously upset when we lose in the cup games or whatever, but we were really excited in a couple of those cup games too. It just didn't feel as good because we couldn't do it over 2 legs. I think yes, our quality has not been there this season, but I also think I need to remember not to get so fixated on the people who watch sports solely because they have a corrupt soul and they want to feel anger. Like, there's certain types of fans who exist that just have anger in their heart. And no matter what they can't be mean to their family in the way that they want to. So they can easily be mean to Steve Cherundolo's family. I'm sorry. Like, there's no reason that you could watch, like, it's supposed to be fun to watch sports. You shouldn't get angry after every fucking game. Don't do it. If it makes you this mad, stop watching, right? Like, you should be able to find joy in games where we end up with a draw, even though that's not the best possible result, if cool things happen. And it sounded like we had a couple cool things happen with Under. Do you think that's correct? Was Under like the big name after the game that you would say? I'll ask you about Bouanga again in a second.
Yeah, a lot of people were, the substitutions that were made definitely injected a little bit something different. Like, Giroud was out there, and towards the end of his stint, he was definitely out of steam, right? And LAFC really needed a change. So they got Nathan Ordaz, they got Under out there, but really they just needed some quality. Like, their midfielders weren't providing the right pass. Let's be fair, no one was providing the right pass. And I think like a low key storyline is Under hasn't started in the last 4 games.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, right? Like, it felt like LAFC
new DP that we don't have for long.
Yeah, like if he starts that game and they have his quality throughout, again, I think that they win 3 or 4-0.
It is interesting because the one game he didn't start was probably the first game in a while that we've I felt like we played really fluidly. And that was what? Ordaz, Giroud, and Bouanga? Was that the front three, or was it when the game Bouanga didn't start?
I think it was the game Bouanga didn't start. I think it was the Houston away game.
It was Ordaz, Bouanga, and who? Martinez? Or Under? I don't remember. No.
Couldn't be Under because we just said he didn't start.
Yes. All I know is we found something we liked with Giroud starting, and that changed. They were like, who can we take out of the starting lineup? And Under was the one who wasn't performing in that moment.
Right.
But like, we very much miss the Matty Bogusz, Carlos Vela, early, like first Edward Atuesta, Ilie Sanchez, like somebody who can make the really beautiful passes that currently outside of Delgado, I don't know who on our team is making really.
I was about to say, why isn't Delgado doing that?
Because
he seems to be the guy who can do that.
So this is where you get in the weeds a little bit and get a little nerdy. Like, so look, when you say a guy can't pass, like when I say a guy can't pass, what I'm saying is a guy can't like pass in a really creative, like goal heavy way. Like Delgado can pass, but only he has like certain passes in his bag, which like Tillman hit a good long ball. Delgado hit a good long ball, good like long switches, but those still require like a lot of work from the person on the other end to then score the goal, right? What LAFC was missing was kind of that soft touch through ball, the really like the light pass through or like the good angle. It just wasn't quite there to the point where you get a pass where like literally the guy just has to finish. And then Under comes in and that's what he does. He sends a ball that literally Bouanga just has to finish. So I do think that the midfielders, like they have a quality to them where they can play certain balls, but they're not going to play like these killer through balls that are so light and they just roll on the pitch and then a guy just runs onto it and finishes it. That being said, some of the balls that they did play like got Bouanga into areas where like if he scores, we're not talking about this. I'm not really talking about the quality, although it does exist. Like there is kind of a quality problem all around LAFC. Like they have, as we've said, a lot of guys that are really good individually, a lot of guys that are good in space, but when it comes to opening up a defense with a pass, I don't think there's really anyone on the pitch. Maybe Martinez sometimes, but he was wildly underwhelming in this game. He started out the first like 15 minutes.
Really inconsistent.
Yeah, he started out the first 15 minutes, and honestly, he was exciting me in the first 15 minutes because to your point about Carlos, he was getting into those positions where he was like coming inside, ball at his feet, had the whole field in front of him, and you were like, oh, I remember we used to have a guy that would do this with his left foot, and this was very cool. And then he would just fuck it up. Like either a bad pass or decide to shoot. And then even worse was after he did that a couple times, he decided of his own accord, you know what? Maybe I don't care today. And just did not affect the game at all after that. He was really I was surprised he came out to start the second half, if I'm being honest.
Wow.
Well, we've sort of danced around it a little bit. And I think the storyline that people really want to know is the second storyline of the match. And it's real simple. Now that Flipgate has ended, is Bouanga back in form? Now, as we all know, the biggest controversy surrounding LAFC this season has not had to do with Steve Cherundolo. It has not had to do with Bouanga's lack of scoring. It has had to do with Bouanga's lack of celebrating after he's scoring. Now, Bouanga, before this season, was front flipping after every single goal. Doesn't matter how small, doesn't matter how big, he's doing it. Then, this season, we notice he does not flip. We make excuses. Was it because of a bandage on his hand? Was it because he was nervous to do it? He goes to Gabon, flips. We go, that's interesting. Does he not want to flip here? Scores a goal. Doesn't flip for LAFC after scoring. We say maybe it's because he knows he's not up to form. This game, he scores off that Under pass. And we get to see the first front flip of the season, but he doesn't do it the second time. And he did have a little bit of tape around his fingers. I don't know if that's the same bandage we've been talking about, but that just looks like tape to me. So I want to know one flip followed by an absolute Bouanga blast at the death to save us a point. Vince, how do you feel about Bouanga's performance specifically this weekend? I know he missed another PK. People were really upset about that. Do we feel like he's back to his old self? Is the confidence back, or does the missing another PK this season, which he missed maybe one last season, the fact that he's missed two this season is a bit wild. Does that indicate the confidence isn't all the way back? How are you feeling about our man, Denis?
I mean, if you go solely off the last goal, he seems back. Like that was vintage Denis Bouanga. And so if that's our last memory of him from the game and that's what he goes on to do, then I think he's back. But if you take the whole game, I think Ante Razov said it best, and he knows a thing or two about scoring goals. Like Denny should have had 4 goals probably in the game, 3 to 4 goals. I will say this: I'm no flip expert, but the flip looked timid. It was not the most powerful. He didn't have the follow through. You know, he loves to do the follow through, and it just wasn't quite all there. I will say, I'll give him a break.
He might have gotten close to falling. Like he almost didn't.
Yeah,
land
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the best. And I'll give him a break on the second one. Well, I think the second one for me. The second one makes sense because they now just tied the game. They were in the ascendancy and they were up a man. And I think Denny's thinking, if I flip here, the ref's just going to blow the whistle. Maybe we can eke another minute out and we can maybe get another goal. I
saw in the highlights also Ante Razov was like screaming at the team to get back and try to get another one.
Yeah. So
it was at the death.
High, as you know, we've criticized him when he hasn't had it, but I got to give him credit when he does. High soccer IQ move there. No flip. Don't need it. Let's see if we can get a third goal, because then you can flip into the north end. I don't give a shit at that moment. But yeah, not the best flip, but it's hard to tell with him, man. Obviously, the penalty miss is something that penalty misses for him definitely make you think he's not all completely as confident,
yes.
But man, when he picked up that ball, 50 yards from goal and just was like, I got this, 2 guys, and buried it in the corner, then you were like, this is the guy.
Classic Denny cheat code.
But
now, go ahead.
The thing is, he's the only one. This is a problem. Again, Ante Razov pointed this out. He's the only one scoring. So you have a guy that we're not sure if he's all the way back. He might be, but even so, he can't be the only one scoring. This is it's a microcosm of the problem that LAFC is suffering through right now.
Now, Darren, you said that we were going to Washington, D.C. to get to the bottom of Flipgate this past weekend. I believe we got to the bottom of it. So I'm curious, now that we know all this, would you officially declare Flipgate over, or is there still more to learn?
I would have officially declared it over 2 minutes ago. But hearing this analysis
Flipgate is
of
back.
The state of Flipgate, I have to bring everything together and say, is Flipgate back?
This is like when QAnon, when the deadline would go past and they'd be like, actually, the real deadline.
Yeah. Oh, if you look here at the pattern, there's a mathematical typo that was on purpose.
Is Flipgate back? Is so funny.
I don't know. I feel like it was closed and it might be reopened. Like, there still seems to be a mystery afoot.
The fact that he didn't land it, I do wonder if it's maybe just like an injury thing. Like, it's such a and he's not young anymore. It's a dangerous thing to do, a front flip on flat ground. Like, what? Mess it up once and you fucking end your career, right? Like, I know we love it, but
maybe he's just getting older and wiser.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Flipgate does not rely on one particular conclusion or answer at the end of it. It's not about it being.
I think it's possible there was a conspiracy where they told him not to flip. I do think that's still remains
a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Yes, it's possible. But what I'm saying, we're agnostic on what the answer ends up being. But I think we came into this recording thinking we had answers, and I'm feeling like maybe we don't have all of the answers.
There's more questions than answers now, Darren.
What we experienced when we went to DC was just the season finale, the season 1 finale. What we didn't realize was that there's a season 2.
All right. Now, that brings us to our final storyline of the week, and it involves what's happening this weekend. So it's an important one, and it's this. Do we talk about Houston? Now, we have a long-running rule on this show that we do not talk about Houston, so much so that we don't even declare why we don't talk about Houston. You just got to handle the fact that we don't fucking talk about Houston. And yet, here we are doing an episode called Houston Match Preview. And I'm curious, Vince, should we talk about Houston?
I mean, I don't really want to. I mean, they're unbeaten in their last 4 games. By the way, that unbeaten streak starts with a win against LAFC, their first win of the season. They just signed a couple of attackers that are, they're not big names, but they're some help. They needed some help. Their coach really does not like our stadium and or our grass, which is our big, I wouldn't say the reason we don't talk about Houston, but it's definitely in there. Like he's on the list because
it's part of it.
And they have a nice, young, talented American player, Jack McGlynn, who did score against LAFC in that game at Houston. They have Ezekiel Ponce, who finally scored in their win last week against Austin, but they're also kind of boring. Like they're you know what they are? They're like, for MLS sickos, i.e. the extra time guys, they're like, well, we can't keep talking about Columbus. So what's another team that we kind of like? Oh, Houston plays a way that we love. They play the right way. We love them. They have the ball.
And they're in a time zone we could watch.
Yeah, and we can maybe watch a couple of the games. And Ben Olsen's kind of fun. He's kind of snarky. He gives us a few comments every once in a while. That's our Columbus light. So there you go. Houston is Columbus light.
And who can forget that they have the word cancer on their jersey? Darren, do you think you were convinced by Vince? Should we talk about Houston or should we not talk about Houston? You get the final say right now.
No, Travis, we don't talk about Houston.
And those are the storylines for this week's match. When we come back, our quarterly review of the LAFC season.
And we're back. Here at Happy Foot Sad Foot headquarters, our success is driven by a relentless focus on quality and continuous improvement, and we're constantly striving to raise the bar and exceed our customers' expectations. We believe that numbers never lie, and if we stay accountable and take ownership, if we celebrate wins but don't get complacent, if we learn from our failures and mistakes and focus on the big picture, small wins can lead to big victories. Now that we've made it through Q1 of the MLS season, it's time for the official Happy Foot Sad Foot quarterly review.
Click on the next slide in the keynote.
Next slide, please.
There's no song. There's no.
Oh, it looks like it didn't sync.
Okay.
You didn't carry over the fonts.
Are you on AirPlay? Did you AirPlay?
Is this a Samsung?
Are you on the same Wi-Fi? Yes, this is Samsung.
Did you have an Android?
What input? Change the source on the TV, though.
Hey guys, we need to all be using Outlook. I know some of you don't like using Outlook, but we need our email signatures to all match.
Yeah, and we can sync calendars better.
Mm-hmm. Having a job is all about syncing. I would say
Yes.
syncing is the most important thing to do.
You got to sync up everything.
You got to touch base. You got to sync. And then you also have to see things from the 30,000 foot view.
Yeah. You got to make sure you're aligned.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And ideate.
Well, that's what we're going to do
on
here.
this season so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's use all the words. Align,
It's time to circle
ideate,
back to our
bandwidth.
first.
What's your bandwidth
I don't have a
like
lot
right
of
now?
bandwidth right now. I got to be honest.
Don't. God,
I do not. I never have bandwidth. I'm always here despite a lack of bandwidth.
Mm-hmm. Darren's really putting his best foot forward, but he is, I do think we need to have maybe a company retreat so that Darren can let loose a little bit.
Yeah, I could use an all hands or two.
Wait, that's
what?
not a huh?
What?
Just sounded wrong. It just was wrong the way you said it.
I just want to be touched.
You want a handy?
I just want a hand in my job.
Yeah, you just.
Yep. We'll just leave that there.
Okay, let's go. Let's do the segment.
Okay, let's start with the LAFC fantasy draft. The biggest thing of the year, every year. We have each drafted 4 LAFC players to our squad. If you caught our season preview, if you didn't, I'm here to review it right now. I could say, give us more views. Go back and watch the first episode, but I'm not. Okay, this is about you, the viewer/listener. We each drafted 4 LAFC players to our squad. Whoever has the team before with the most total goals at the end of the season will win 1 free bacon-wrapped hot dog outside of the stadium. Now, traditionally, in this game, Denny Bouanga has been off the market, but in our first ever segment within a segment, the pre-LAFC Fantasy Draft LAFC Draft Rules debate, we officially deemed Denny Bouanga on the market for 2025, except for penalty goals.
But he doesn't score those anyway.
Which did not factor in last game. So, of course, Travis took him with the first pick of the draft, and we can see how it all shook out.
Which I did get by guilting you.
Yes, Travis pulled the
dead dad card
and got the first pick of the draft.
Hey, when your dad dies, you get the first pick, bud. That's my promise.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun segment within a segment next year. Can Travis still talk about that? Can he pull that card?
What's the statute of limitations on the card?
I can't wait to have that discussion.
Until one of you has someone closer to you die than your father, I get first pick, baby.
Wow, that really?
No,
well, he's not wishing it on us.
He's
just
saying
it could happen.
End.
I'm saying I don't want it to happen because I want first pick.
I don't know. No, I'm not saying I'm offended by it. I'm saying that seems like potentially way too long. Hopefully way too long.
Will they still
They're
have
getting
a
old.
team by then?
Look, I'm looking at these numbers right now. Let me tell you who's on my team.
I'd rather not look. I was going to say one other option.
Can we skip this?
Before we do this, one other option is we could just skip this whole segment.
I say, yeah. How about we just talk about the fact that I took Giroud and he actually scored a goal, so I should win.
Which is enough for me. Let's move on.
Giroud goals should be worth 3.
That's true.
So, is this the actual number for Bouanga without PKs? This seems high.
No.
Oh,
that's right.
You know what? I did not factor in PKs, but has he scored from PK?
He scored, I think, 1 PK this
Portland.
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're at.
So this should be this.
But
we've
been giving
Denny 6 goals.
Denny Bouanga a lot of shit. It's across all competitions. 6 goals in the beginning of the season for the team. I also have David Martinez with 3, Igor Jesus with 0. But Mark Delgado did have an unbelievable goal with 1. That puts me at 10 total goals across all competitions. Let's see where my fellow competitors are.
We could not. Just once again, that is an option
I'm
to
coming
not.
dead last. I'm coming dead last both years, so I would like to see how you guys are doing so far.
That's an interesting idea. We could review your scores from previous years.
We can combine them. It should be aggregate scoring.
Oh, I would love that.
Just remember the faith that I had in Giroud, and he's now scored. I mean, I'm not saying that that's the reason, but I know he listens to the show. It is all there is to talk about with your team. He doesn't want to let me down. I mean,
I will say, remember we went on Soccer Wise and we all picked the over for Giroud over 12.
Oh, we'll get to that later. I did put that in the review.
Okay, good.
No, I didn't remember that until now. Thanks, Travis.
Oh, no, we'll review it in more detail.
We went on a national show and said that
I was not there.
What is wrong with us?
They said it too.
Okay, so that's Vince, right. Your team was Giroud, Abobasi, Hollingshead, and Odin Holm.
Yeah.
You do have more goals than one might think with that squad.
Yeah.
Giroud, Abobasi, and Hollingshead all with 1 goal. And honestly, I was surprised that Hollingshead only has 1 goal.
Yeah.
Aaron Long took all of his goals.
Yeah.
That's true.
Fucking Aaron Long.
So that's a total of 3 goals across all competitions for Team Vince. And then I have a team also. So let's move on to the next segment.
Darren, you're selling yourself short here. I think we need to go over your roster because I think you made some interesting picks here that are worth discussing. Why don't you say out loud?
I was pigeonholed into these picks.
You were not pigeonholed into the first pick. You were not pigeonholed into the first pick. And I
did YOLO the draft. I was tired of winning, and I YOLO'd the draft.
Okay, tell us who your first pick was, Darren.
It was Kike Oliveira.
And then what happened 12 hours later, Darren?
Kike Oliveira was murdered.
I believe by the time the episode came out, Kike Oliveira was no longer on the team.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true. While I was editing.
I think while he was editing, to be honest.
Yeah. And now,
we warned him.
We did.
You can only edit so much, folks.
Darren, now then you had Tillman, which isn't a bad. It isn't a bad second round. Now talk to me about your third round draft.
Wait, Travis, not a bad second round pick. Currently 0 goals.
Okay, but
that's more important.
The team's been underwhelming in general. Yeah, so I mean, Tillman was probably a smart pick in that moment, at least.
Yes,
I would say 50% of the people in your roster are unable to score goals for LAFC. So Tillman is a smart pick in that it is possible for him to score.
Right.
Well,
right.
My third round pick, Antoine Griezmann.
Yep. We're not counting his goals.
We can all agree he's very good at soccer.
Yeah,
Taylor
he's back on the board.
He's back.
Taylor Twellman dropped the bombshell that Griezmann Gate is not over.
It's over. We need to shut the fuck up. They're just using us as leverage still. If Griezmann comes this season, I will give you Denny Bouanga.
Really?
No.
I'll get Griezmann.
I'll give you
I'm good with Griezmann.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay.
I'll give you Delgado. Yeah, he's like, I'll have the guy. I don't need it.
I'll trade you Delgado for Griezmann if Griezmann comes this season.
No.
Would you make that trade right now, though?
What? Oh. The bid is over. Now it's getting serious.
Because so let's go over your roster quickly. Because I do we have set a precedent last season. Last season, if you remember, I picked Griezmann to be on my squad.
Yeah.
And I think and then the year before I picked Messi.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But last year I was given.
And now you're giving me shit for this.
You did allow me to add, I believe, Carlos Vela to my. Who did I add?
No, you got Giroud.
I got Giroud mid-season. Yes, that's correct.
which that didn't work out for you.
Which didn't help too much. Well, it's not midseason. This is just Q1, guys. Okay, there's still plenty of time to turn this around.
You have Ordaz as well, and Ordaz,
That's
somehow
right.
let be
I do
the
have
final
Ordaz.
pick in the draft.
Ordaz the king. 3 goals on aggregate. I'm tied for second place, motherfuckers.
Players we picked above Nathan Ordaz, our best player this season. Tillman, Igor Jesus, Hollingshead, Griezmann, Delgado, Odin Thiago Holm, and then Nathan Ordaz. The disrespect.
I stand by Hollingshead.
I mean,
Well, I stand by Ordaz.
I think
Folks
I had
watching
Aaron
or
Long.
listening, you're not going to hear me get any respect for the sleeper pick of Nathan Ordaz.
Well, he really was like the last player that scores goals that was available.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So, Darren, you're not going to make any effort to trade either of your players who can't.
I might in the next quarterly review,
Okay.
but for now, I'm
We'll
sticking
see.
with my team.
All right. Well, we shall see. I think that means I have the most goals. Is that correct?
Yeah, you have by a margin of 10-3.
Okay, great. Just double checking. But 7 goals.
10
you
to
guys can make
3
that
to
up.
3.
You can make that up.
Yeah.
All you need is
You know,
Giroud to score
Travis,
7 goals, Vince, and you're fine.
I think you
Actually,
should
we're giving
absolutely...
Darren a lot of shit, and really, I should be taking the most shit. He has 50% of his team can't play, and I have the same amount.
And I'm still
That's
tied
true.
with you.
I just thought about that right now. Like
You had decent picks and can't score.
well,
Abobasi
Abobasi's
hasn't
been
played.
hurt. Yeah, come on, bro.
I'm giving you a handicap.
And Oldenholm hasn't played much either. Come, hey, guys, let's go. Let's pick this up.
Yeah. I mean, Travis, I think you should be enjoying this while you can because we never know what Q2 is going to bring.
Once Griezmann comes, it's over for me.
That's what I agree.
All right, so that's the draft. What's next in the quarterly
Griezmann's going to
review?
come good.
Next slide.
Next slide.
Real good.
Next slide. Griezmann comes good.
I didn't do it this time. It was you guys.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, Travis, that is like a normal phrase that people say.
Comes good.
Yeah, to come good. That's like more than like UK, Australia.
I mean, Darren, I'm going to guarantee it's a normal thing that Travis says too, just not in the same way you and I are saying it.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I also would say I can't, with it, having watched all the Arsenal I've watched this year, cannot with a straight face say Gooner and not laugh. Every time I see the word Gooner anywhere, I'm like, I can't believe we're saying it. We're calling ourselves Gooners, guys. We got to change
sticking
it.
with that. Yeah, you got to give it up. Sorry, you've had it for 100 years, but you got to give it
It's
up.
over. It's over.
So we had some long shot predictions in the season preview and in the first few episodes. So we should check in on those because it's important to check back on the benchmarks and milestones. So
Darren's long shot prediction for the season is so funny.
should we start with that one?
Yeah.
My long shot prediction for the season, which I'm not giving up on yet, folks.
Well, I hope it happens.
We all hope it happens. We're all rooting for me. It's that Olivier Giroud will win the Golden Boot.
Who has the most goals right now in MLS? MLS top scorer right now. I know Chicho was
It's probably
up there.
Brian White. Is it Brian White or am I thinking more
maybe.
about his CONCACAF?
Or no, it's Ty Barabo, right?
There's a tie right now between Hugo Kuipers in Chicago and Ty Barabo in Philly.
Yeah,
And
Ty started out hot and then like cooled off.
There
the Pokemon
are
heavy Golden Boot race.
Yeah.
there are then
Kuipers and
7. Oh, we got to play that game. There are 7 people in second place though with 6 goals, just a goal off, including Arango, Surridge, Alonso Martinez, Kevin Donkey at FC Cincinnati, Joseph Martinez, Brian White,
Dinky?
Dinky.
Kevin
Donkey's cool, though.
Kevin Donkey, Joseph Martinez,
Kevin Donkey.
Kevin Donkey.
Donkey.
That's not that off the pronunciation, honestly. Brian Wright and Evander. So there's a lot of.
What you're
people
saying is
still
it's
in it.
wide open for Giroud.
And then at 5 goals, there's 9 more players, and a lot of them have Pokemon names: Navarro, Rossi, Mihailovic, Jovelik, Pasalic, Luna. Diego Luna, I never put 2 and 2 together that he's got the same name as the Endor guy. Can't get over it. Laugh, Benteke, Alahuese, and yeah, that's it for 5 goals. So all we need is Giroud to get 4 goals, and he could be tied for 3rd.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen. This is just Q1 once again.
Game.
And we need all
Travis,
those
your
people
long
to
shot
not-
prediction. Yeah, that would be helpful too. If anybody's out there can make that happen,
Yeah.
we love to see that.
Donkey.
Travis, you made a long shot projection and then immediately abandoned it.
Yeah, I wish I made the first one.
Yeah, the first one's actually looking pretty good right now. You said San Diego will end the season with more points than the Galaxy and Earthquakes. And that's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah,
It looked even better a few weeks ago. But yeah, I think San Diego, I've always had faith in the squad they put together. And for some reason, teams in their first season in MLS tend to overperform. It happens every year. And I'm curious, like it's a trend now, right? We have them. St. Louis did it. Austin did it. We played really well. Cincinnati played really well. I do think
Cincinnati was not good in its first season.
No, Cincinnati
got golden or wooden spoon.
Wooden spoon.
2 years
and then they
golden spoon
got the following year got the supporter shield.
It is a recent trend.
Yes. So it is something that I think it didn't feel that out of the ordinary, especially with how good their roster was, but it was untested and young. But my real prediction was that the Columbus Crew will not make the playoffs. That I maybe thought was good for like the first 2 weeks of the season. That will almost definitely not happen. But yeah,
they're gonna have to have some catastrophe.
They look pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, they're okay.
Outside of losing to us, they've looked good.
Travis, you spend every show, you have a bet that you're confident in. And this was the first time I can ever remember you abandoning a bet.
You know, I liked the idea that the Crew sucked more than San Diego was good.
It is a more fun idea.
Yeah. But I do think it was not as smart of a bet. What was Vince's?
Well, I would know nothing about that. Mm-hmm. So, Vince, your prediction was an MLS team will win the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Now read the bonus.
As a bonus, I reviewed this week. You said, and I quote, "It probably won't be Messi's team."
Now, if you would have asked us if it would be the Vancouver Whitecaps at the beginning of the season, we would have said,
"It's right where my mind was
fuck
going."
Yourself. Yeah, you were like, it's gonna be. They're gonna fire Vanny Sartini and somehow be the best team in Major League Soccer.
Big Tristan Blackman fan.
Yeah.
Every member of the Whitecaps are overperforming. It's wild how good they are this year,
including the coach.
It's true.
Yeah, he hasn't even tried to suck one dick.
I know. I guess in that sense, he's underperforming.
Yeah. We haven't played yet. We haven't played them yet.
That's true. That's
their storyline when we play them. Will their new coach suck Steve Cherundolo's
take on the mantle? Has the torch been passed?
It's the game after next.
Darren, Vince, this is a really good prediction from you.
This is looking good.
I feel pretty good about it. I mean, they will still have to play because the game's going on now. Is it? It is probably going on now, but it's Tigres and Cruz Azul. So two.
Okay, it's still in the 74th minute, still tied. 0-0. They're tied on aggregate. Do away goals count in the semifinals?
Yes.
So who has so they don't go to PKs. So who has where was the last game?
If they're tied 2-2, it's possible they could be.
No, they're tied 0-0. I'm sorry.
Oh. Okay.
Is it 0-0 on aggregate?
No, it's 1-1 on aggregate. Someone played.
Oh.
They're playing in the Estadio Olimpico right now. So that is whose stadium is that?
Cruz Azul plays, I believe.
Okay. So that means that Tigres.
Wait, who's listed first?
Cruz Azul is listed first. So that means
then they're home.
Cruz Azul is currently leading because they have the away goal at Tigres.
Yes.
So Cruz Azul is a much more beatable team than Tigres in my mind.
Was Mateusz Bogusz at the helm?
Bogusz, I don't even think is in the lineup today.
What?
Wow.
I am gonna be rooting for Bogusz so hard if he gets to the final.
Oh yeah.
He's not
awesome.
And I will be rooting for Tristan Blackman.
I guess so.
Brian White. Bogusz.
The only reliable bet on this show, time and time again, is that Vince will always be right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bogusz got subbed off in the 36th minute or subbed on? I can't tell.
Who did?
Bogusz.
Does he have a green arrow or a red arrow?
He has a green arrow.
Green means he's probably subbed.
He's been subbed out. Travis, did you just suddenly become unable to read
a
phone?
Wouldn't they adjust the lineup so that he's in the lineup at the top?
Oh.
He's not in the lineup at the top. He's on the bench.
That is confusing.
Travis, this is something we've never talked about, but I do have a bone to pick with a lot of apps. They don't move players in, and they don't also sometimes some apps will move them in but not tell you they were a sub. So you're like, wait, who was the starters?
Yeah.
Or they end the game and they don't show you who ended the game. It's the starters. Can we just have one uniform way in which we display this for everybody so that I don't have to make these guesses and check 5 different apps to figure out who started the game?
Somebody could beat FootMob. FootMob is not a great app. It just is the standard.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's better than other sports apps.
It is, but
but not by much.
Somebody could come and take it. Bogusz was subbed out in the 36th minute, so something must have happened if he came on in the 36th.
Wow.
So Vince, you might get to see your boy Tristan Blackman win a CONCACAF Champions Cup.
A couple other predictions.
There's a good chance I think that they would host. Well, it depends on how well Cruz Azul did throughout the group stages, but I think there's probably a good chance Vancouver would host that game, would host the final.
And Canada, famously a tough place to play.
Yeah. So some other predictions.
Isn't their stadium called BMO too? BMO Place.
Yeah, it is.
No.
Wait, that's Toronto.
That's Toronto.
Yeah. Their BC Place.
BC Place, right.
Very old stadium.
Wait, is that where like the Expos used to play back in the day?
No, Montreal Expos.
Oh, that's Montreal. Yeah. Anyway, some other predictions that flew around in the beginning of the season. Vince, you said there's a very real chance David Martinez could be the guy that breaks out this season the way Bogusz did. That still remains to be seen, it seems. I think we've seen flashes of that.
Still possible.
But like you said, this past week seems like inconsistent.
Bogusz was our most consistent player last year. I don't think Martinez would have to do a lot more to be the new Bogusz.
Well, they all have to do a lot more regardless.
He still has a lot of time. Dude, if I don't know if you guys remember, Bogusz started the season, and even though he scored in the very first game, everyone was like, he's not a false nine. I hate him playing there, blah, blah. And then he goes and scores like 18 goals and has like, a handful of assists. And everyone's like, I told you, he's great. I love him. And it's like, okay, shut up.
Travis, do you know what a false nine is? Or
yeah, I do. And I think you should explain
it. Cool. Yeah, we all know. So it's fine. Travis and Vince, you went on SoccerWise, an international soccer show, internationally distributed. And the over-under on Giroud goals was 12.5. Now, not only both of you, but also both hosts of SoccerWise took the over.
I mean, it's still possible.
It is. Absolutely.
He has been more active. I've been happier with him.
A lot more touches on the ball. Should have scored.
That's all that matters.
Yep, that's all that matters. He had a chance that he probably should have scored. It was a little bit of a half chance, but it's a volley from about 12 yards out that you would have probably bet on him scoring if you hadn't known he hadn't been scoring. If you just heard the name Olivier Giroud, you would have said, "Oh yeah, he could score that."
Now, given that it's still possible that he hits the over on this, do you want to risk looking like complete idiots? And would you take the under now?
Yes, I would take the under easily.
Yeah, probably.
I think there's a world in which he's not on the team by the end of the season.
He literally would have to.
This is the only way you can look dumb both times.
Right. And I'm willing to take that risk.
He's gotten better, but the worry is this, like, the world in which he gets better, I don't think LAFC gets better with him. Like, in order for it to work out for both.
Let's not go to that dark place.
I don't think I just don't think it does.
Do you think the reason Griezmann now wants to come to LAFC again is because Giroud's gotten 17 touches on the ball each game?
Yeah. He's like a little clicker, and he's just been tallying them up.
If Giroud doesn't touch the ball, I'm not coming, and I won't come for Steve Cherundolo. Now that he's out, I'll consider it.
Which brings us to our final prediction that was made that we can end on, which is that Vince did say when we were discussing what will happen with Dolo, specifically if Dolo is gone, it will be on his own terms.
And then it'll happen at the end of the season. Yeah.
Two huge wins for Vince in this review.
I will say, Vince, there's a world in which he's out before that. It's possible still they're like, okay, we're good.
We did talk about that. There is, and that's an intriguing storyline, is this does provide some cover if, in fact, things do go wrong. And in the summertime, certain coaches are available and they're just feeling like it's the best for both parties. I generally think that both sides feel really good about this despite the timing of it. So I'd say it's a low chance, but it's higher than if there was no announcement. I think, like I said, this provides some cover and some way to save face for both sides. But look, Steve knows that I am a beautiful football mind and a soccer genius, and he's just making me look really good. And that's all there is to it.
Wow.
I mean, we have a clip of him saying that.
We do.
It's real, 100% real. Had nothing to do with me beating him in a game and making him do it. Don't watch the very end either when what he says after he says that. We're good.
What does he say after that?
Actually, I don't think he says anything. We had whiteboards, and then he wrote "classic burn," not with some exclamation points. It actually was really funny.
He did the 90s not.
Yeah, it was really. I will say, I'm kind of making it sound like it wasn't funny, but at the time, it was really funny.
Wow.
Well played.
It's crazy. I'm
All
so
right.
thankful that LAFC pays us to do this show. It's really nice. When I'm so happy to carry water for the team because they give us a weekly Bitcoin check, so they can't see. And the LAFC,
and it is so weird that we
LAFC
did
coin.
talk about it before it happened. Like, how did we know?
Right.
How could we have known?
I can't hear you. I'm covered in all this Ollie coin.
We finally talked shit about Steve Cherundolo, and then he's gone. They must have told us we're allowed to. We exist. We're a psyop for the team.
Yeah.
Affogate.
Oh,
Think about all that money you're spending on LAFC gold. Where does that go? Right in our pockets.
Cruz Azul just scored, so it's looking like Cruz Azul because now Tigres needs 2 goals to get.
Wow.
All right, those are that's our Q1 review. When we come back, we're gonna make some bets.
And we're back again. Now it's time for a segment called Bet It and Forget It.
Bet it and forget it.
Every week we end the show with a bet for this week's game. We make an outlandish prediction, something that almost definitely will not happen, but could. Each week we all put up $5. If no one hits, the money rolls over to the next week, and eventually by the time someone's weird prediction comes true, they might win a good chunk of change. None of our bets cashed last week, so the pool for this week is $150.
Massive.
You could buy a house with that money.
Life-changing.
Unbelievable.
I have a bet that I'm very confident in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
it's that San Diego will end the season
Wait.
This is a real long.
You're right
Okay.
not to talk about Houston.
The prediction I will make is that someone will, from across half field, score a goal. Someone
Whoa.
will be, or can we say, they will go above
Within the circle?
the majority of the players and score. Because I feel like
But that could be a
sometimes
free kick.
Okay, so it has to be like the goalie's out of position. It doesn't have to be past half. Do you want me to say half field? We could say half field. That just feels
Darren
half
gave you
field
a
too
good spot.
far.
What, in the circle? So the
Okay,
circle
now-
extends 10
in
more
the
yards.
circle.
Yeah,
the circle to the touch lines. Does that
Yeah.
sound good?
sure.
Great.
To the touchlines?
Or the
It can go with the width
Darren,
of
we're
the
not.
fields.
We're not. Okay. He knew what the touchline. I thought we were.
The what? The ninth zone? What zone are we talking about?
Oh God. It's probably like
we're in the 69th zone.
What is this? Hunger
Well,
Games?
probably like zone 8 or something like that.
So somebody, it could be either team, but someone from that far out is going to, the goalie will be out of position.
Got it.
And they'll score from really far out. I mean,
we'll
it'll be
have a pretty
crazy goal
good
from
gauge
far.
on it. I don't think it'll be something in which we'll be like, no,
Yeah.
we're not going to give it to you. I think we'll all kind of understand.
We
what
can
that
talk
is.
about it and discuss.
Yeah.
I actually think a free kick makes it not count. Like it has to be one of those weird.
Oh, if someone hits a free kick from that distance, I'll give it
yeah.
to you. That's not
Yeah.
going to happen. Free kick
All
almost
right,
makes
the
it
goalie's
that.
out of position.
Well, that goalie should be fired. That would be the most insane goal.
The goalie's in the wall.
Yeah, I think actually, if you guys want to go back and look at like the 2002 World Cup, Ronaldinho hits a free kick against England, and it's not quite that far, but it's pretty far, and it's one of the crazier goals I've ever seen, and he totally meant it.
Wow.
And Travis, do you know what the last name of that goalkeeper was?
Hellwig?
No,
Campos?
Seaman.
Hell yeah. He comes good.
David Seaman. Who is from your boyhood club, Arsenal.
Yeah.
I might.
You grew up watching Arsenal.
I grew up
Welcome
watching
full circle.
Arsenal and whatever, and Bridgeport Vasco da Gama was my other other boyhood club. U.S. Open Cup finalist, Bridgeport Vasco da Gama. All right, so that's my bet. Someone will score from distance.
My bets have come comically close the last 2 weeks, and
That's
have
true.
both been thwarted by one Denny Bouanga.
What was yours last week? Hat trick for Denny?
No, mine last week was LAFC was going to go down, but then somehow win the game. And
Right.
I guarantee that if Denny scores that penalty,
Mhm.
we're winning the game. And then the week before, mine was Denny will score and flip. And he scored a penalty and decided not to flip instead to honor his former teammate, which is fair. But Denny, I mean, I could have used some of that money.
Fair, but also unfair.
100 some odd bucks. I mean, we're just saying. I don't get paid
Yeah.
like you do. So I'm going to go with Denny Bouanga again.
What?
And I'm going to say he is back, baby. Denny Bouanga hat trick. And he's going to finally seal it for me so I can get the, what is it, $150?
I almost said Denny Bouanga hat trick, but I knew that you would do something lame like that, so it's fine.
I was going to say that Ben Olsen was going to complain about the field again, but I feel like that's probably a given.
If we lose, he will.
It's not
complain about
outlandish
the field.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay, good bet.
All right, guys, I think it's been long enough.
French Connection?
No. Hugo Lloris assist.
Oh, okay. Just a straight assist.
Just a straight up classic Hugo Lloris assist or goal.
Sure.
He could be the player that chips everyone.
Hugo Lloris getting in on the hockey points.
So this is
what I'm
totally
saying.
possible that it could be a push for you guys.
That's true. That's
He
true.
notices
Hugo
the
Lloris
goalie out
could
of
score a
position.
goal
Yeah.
from the circle.
Hugo, if you're listening, fucking go for it, baby. This season
do
is
it.
already weird as
Let
hell.
it rip.
Let's have fun. Well, those are our bets for the week. We shall see. That's our show. Our theme music is done by the insane team of James Valentine, Nate Walcott, and Louis Palmer. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@happyfootsadfoot. That's what will be live after the game. And if you want merch, head over to happyfootsadfootpod.com. If you want to help us make this show, check out patreon.com/happyfootsadfoot, where you can get into the Discord, get discounts on merch, get this show ad-free, both in video and audio forms, and a bunch of other, like, you get to I gave away my tickets to just the first person who responded. The ticket exchange every game is probably the most used part of our Discord, and people are getting free tickets. They get discounted tickets. I don't know if it's legal, so maybe we shouldn't be talking about it. But if you are not a
We're
member
just
of the
facilitating.
yeah,
I think it's fair to say you're getting your money's worth if
Yeah.
you're joining.
yes.
I think
you
at
could
this point you can
easily-
say that. You should feel good about that.
And let's just say, judging by the attendance this year at LAFC games, people want cheaper tickets. I got we can talk about it after the show. That
Leagues Cup tickets are pretty cheap.
Oh, I should opt out so I could get, great point, I could opt out and buy on the secondary market for cheaper. Any sport really goes a long way, keeping the show going and the community growing. I love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye.
I'm actually kind of upset, Travis, because you really just torpedoed our money that we're going to get from LAFC with the last couple of comments you made. So
I love opting in to get my tickets for double what I would pay if I bought them on the secondary market. I love you. Bye.
Opt in. That's our motivational slogan. Nike, opt in.
I love you. Bye, Vince.
I love you. Bye.
oh, you guys still there?
Oh.